talk a minute to me when I ask you a question about Fed Ward or somebody.
Who's Fed Ward?
What do you think? Is Fed Ward a brother to Harv Ward?
I know.
Yeah, they were brothers.
Or was Harv Fed's father, do you think, perhaps?
No, they're brothers.
They're brothers.
Because I've heard Grandma West talk about Uncle Fed Ward.
What'd she say?
Well, she just, in general conversation, she'd mentioned something that happened sometime about Uncle Fed Ward.
You know, just
Uncle Fed's brother.
I wonder if you recall the time that we drove down to Kennesaw, in a country out of Kennesaw, near where you used to live, and visited at the home of Bob Howell.
Well, who could forget that?
What was his full name? What was his right?
Robert E. Lee Howell.
Right, and he lived about how far from where you used to live outside of Kennesaw?
Oh, about 3/4 of a mile.
Okay, out, what was that road called?
Well, it was the road between, it was a shortcut from Kennesaw to Ackworth, a dirt road. It went over by a railroad station, Lena.
And what was the lady's name who lived at the same residence?
Dorothy Watson.
Dorothy Watson.
Dorothy Watson.
Okay, and she was present during that
Yes.
interview. Now,
I remember she was on the little cot over on the side. She and I were talking, and he'd give us ball now every once in a while.
right, during the time that I was taping him about the Leo Frank lynching, you remember? Now, while I was questioning him and he was telling me about the events that occurred in, where is it, Marietta? In around
Marietta.
1915 or some period like that.
I don't recall the year.
I believe he sort of got a little annoyed that there were voices in the background a couple of times. Was that
He
right?
gave a few orders for Miss Watson and me to shut our mouths and listen to him.
Okay. Had you ever heard that particular story before that he was telling me?
Not exactly like he told it at that time, because I'd heard him talk about the Fagan case and Leo M. Frank, and he use a few cuss words when you get to the Frank part, but he didn't like it at all, but he never did tell anything about his actions in there.
He was much franker in that
He
interview.
told the full story that time.
Yeah,
I'd never heard him before tell that.
I felt that in the previous times we talked, he would describe his idea of the crime that Leo Frank had committed, but he didn't describe what he himself had done in connection with Leo Frank.
Well, now that's the way. That was the way he talked to me about it. Every time we ever talked about it, it was always he was always a hand to Frank. He didn't tell him what a rascal he was, and he never did one time. I never one time
described his own Howell's role.
But I'd heard about it.
Yeah.
Different ones.
How long did you know Bob Howell when you lived on that
Well, I
Kennesaw farm?
I knew him about 1925. He moved there. Kennesaw. He bought that farm, or Ms. Watson did. And he was going to take care of it for him. She came out there to help him get straightened up, get things straightened up, get the house fixed, kind of. And so she just stayed on. She never did go back home.
His family evidently was of considerable fame and money in Georgia, wasn't it?
Oh yes, they were very wealthy at one time. After you remember, he didn't tell about. Did he tell us that day about killing the man in Marietta?
I'm not sure. You mean besides Leo Frank, the
Uh-huh.
earlier
Yeah, he
homicide
didn't
there?
kill Frank, you know.
No, this was
Stepped
the
on him
lynching.
after
Yeah,
his dad. I started to shoot him, and they took his
Yeah.
gun away from him.
No, I'm not sure he described his own earlier. You mean where you knew that he had been charged with a homicide himself? Huh?
Oh, well, I just knew he was guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Because
From what
he
he
shot
told?
the man in the window of the train when he pulled in like that.
What was his reason for that? I mean, what was
Well,
the circumstances of the earlier?
Mr. Skelton, he was the signal man at the railroad crossing there in Marietta when this happened. And he said it was Mr. Howell owed the man that he shot 25 cents. And he went out he bought some potato slips from Bob Howell's father. And somehow or another, when he went to intend for the slips, he didn't have a short of change. And this fellow said, well, just let it go. He says, Bob owes me a quarter. He said, I'll just let it go at that. Of course, the quarter didn't make up for the difference in the change that they're supposed to have made. And when the old man went home and mentioned it to Bob, he got all up in the air, and he put his gun in his pocket and walked out there. Stood behind the tree till the train pulled in. He stepped out and let him
have it.
shot him through the window. Yeah, just killed him dead.
Now he stood trial for that. But
Oh yeah, he stood trial,
he
and
was acquitted, I guess.
and Mr. Skelton said that his father spent thousands of dollars to save him from the gas.
Mm-hmm. What sign was there in all the years that it must have been close to 40 years that you knew him from the time he moved to Kennesaw around 1925 until I suppose he's only been dead the last, what is it now?
I don't remember
4,
just
5
how
years,
long has he been dead? More
Is
than
it that long?
It's been almost 10 years.
No, I don't think so. I think the taping was
no.
Recently, wasn't it? Within the
That's
last-
three.
I was running that produce right in line in
That's
56
right.
and 57.
Well, what I mean is he was alive right up till when?
Till about 59.
Oh, you could place it around 59 above Howell? Or a little later, I'm not sure.
Well,
I went by at least once a month
Mama,
when I was on that produce.
Well, he certainly was alive around then. Huh?
well, was you with me, buddy, when we went stopped at D.
Yeah.
Daniels and
At
they
the
was
old-
telling
yeah.
about Angeline was telling about her and some of the neighbors were going over there, cleaned up his bed and found a snake in his bed.
In bed with him.
And I just don't know, that was just a short time after he died. And I don't remember what year it was.
Well, at least for something close to 40 years that you knew him, was there ever any sign that he really, that he made a living, or was he usually living on a dole from the family? What seemed to be a
Well,
circumstance?
he worked. He grew a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first year he lived there, he bought garden seed, brought that. The land was very, very good around where there'd been old bonds thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted me and my husband to plant the seed in that garden over there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we planted it. We was going to plant it. He'd give us half everything we made. We planted radish, beets, English peas, and all kind of vegetables. Well, the time the radishes got as big as bullets, cars began to come out. He had a lot of friends in Marietta when he had something to eat. They'd come out there and he'd just load them up. He'd pull them up. Beets the same way. And English peas come in before they got big enough to shell out hardly. He was gathering them off and giving them to his neighbors. Well, of course, his brother in Chattanooga brought down his foodstuffs, bringing meats, all kinds, kill hog, 400 or 500 pound hog, and bring it down there. Old man cut that up, salt it down, and he'd give it out to people that come around here. And he kept a bunch of dogs there. I don't know how he.
Now, I always remember the dogs, great many dogs around there, and a great deal of filth. Was that fair to say about the condition of the house?
Filth is pretty mild. It was worse if it could be worse.
He threw away nothing, right? His
Oh,
garbage
no,
apparently
he
stayed
had
there, his trash.
He had a room, one room, I don't know. It was a large room, an old-timey kitchen. He had that packed just as full. It was probably just as full of cardboard boxes, tin cans, just empty that he bought canned foods in, tomatoes and beans and vegetables of other kinds. And I don't know why he saved them, but he had that room was packed full. The last time I was in the kitchen, there just barely room to go.
Didn't want to be a litter bug.
Go in at the, come through a little walkway to the oil stove, and then out at the back door, and the tin cans were just rolling down. And then he had a building put up out in the field, put the rest of it out there. He had it for.
He used to claim he had what did he have, a trumpet that was used in
Oh,
the
yeah, he
attack
had a
on
trumpet.
the Civil War or something?
How long?
What was that?
Bugle.
The bugle that was
bugle,
used
how
where?
long was
Stone
that?
Mountain or somewhere?
About 7 foot long.
7 foot long.
Yeah,
Confederate
Buddy used to.
bugle,
Buddy used to beg him for it.
huh? You remember as a child, buddy? What?
You used to promise it to me.
He used to
Yeah,
promise it to you. It
That's
stood up
right.
7 foot tall. And
It reached the ceiling
Yeah.
here.
and he could blow it. He'd blow that thing sometimes. That's not often.
So he had
Solid
some
copper.
historical
Gave it
thing.
to Herman Talmadge.
He gave it to Herman Talmadge. He what?
The solid copper.
Copper, brass.
Mhm.
It's brass, I believe, wasn't it? I thought it was brass.
So he had some historical objects around,
he
but a
used-
great deal of trash.
You remember, Mama, when he used to say that the man he killed used to pick his.
Oh yeah, he told Mr. Skelton that
What was that?
the man that's the only time I ever heard of him talking to anybody about killing that man. And I heard Mr. Skelton tell that he said every night of his life that man stood at the head of his bed.
Is that right?
Pick his
And
hair-
I knows all
Picked
the
what?
Pick his hairs out.
Would
one
pick
by
his hairs
one.
out.
He never slept without a light after that either.
He slept with a light on? Is that
Well,
right?
on stormy
24
night,
hours a day.
when it thundered and rained, thunder and lightning and rained a lot, I've seen it. See, he lived right out in front, we could see over there. And
His
I'd
light
see-
as far
see the
away.
light. It'd be at this window and then it'd go on through and then it'd move back.
Sounds
You
like
just walked the floor all night long when it was thunder and
he
lightning.
couldn't
and
go
rain.
to sleep if it was thunder and storm.
No, that man was.
He needed light on
And he
to
would-
sleep.
Eat aspirins, don't
He
you
had,
remember that?
He had lights on all night long, every night. Old flambeaus or something. Or regular
Did he ever take a bath that you know of? Was there any sign?
I
that he
never
did?
caught him at it.
I mean, there was no personal cleanliness to
No.
Bob Howell, was there?
No.
How
What?
about,
What?
how about when the dog bit him? Got in
Yeah,
a
I
fight and
remember.
bit him. What did he do, Mama?
I don't remember that.
He put
I remember that.
tied it up with
You and I had gone up to the
Oh,
house, is why we
wow.
remember it. We were visiting with him.
with the dirtiest rag around his
A
hand.
filthy rag
Well,
With
he
the
that
kerosene
covered the dog like that.
She could take a cold or cough, have a bad cold. I mean, coughing really badly, couldn't sleep, and he just go to the kerosene can and pour a tablespoon full of kerosene and take it, go to bed and go to sleep.
Was there any sign that he himself had ever been raised, in a cultured or refined household, or was he always, was he sort of mentally disturbed? How would
there
you,
was, they were in his talk and
In his
in his
speech.
actions.
and yet it was all
towards
gone
people.
in practice in other ways, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that there was some sign of manners
Oh,
or
yeah,
of an
yeah,
ability to
he-
match
he was
politeness
very
or something.
And he had the highest respect for for women.
Mm-hmm.
He just,
Which brings me to, what exactly did the neighbors or people like yourself think was the circumstances? He was not a married man. Miss
Well,
Watson, I
there
guess,
was,
were they supposed to be living together, or what was it?
well, they weren't supposed to. They just really lived together.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
Was there any sign that the family, maybe, in taking care of him, trying to keep him from getting in trouble, had hired Miss Watson to buy the farm?
well, that was they hired her. That the way they got together. She had a boarding house in Marietta.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Horn and she
Mm-hmm.
started this boarding house. Well, he went there to board. He couldn't get along with his people. His father and
Mhm.
mother was dead, and his sisters and
Mm-hmm.
the brothers that lived there. He drank a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he went out there to board. The first time he went in there drinking, Miss Watson told him he'd hunt another boarding place
Mm-hmm.
if he was going to do that. She would
Mhm.
not put up with it. Well, he stayed there, run that boarding house for, I don't know, she's told me how many years she run the,
Mm-hmm.
kept the place there. And Mrs. Horn, her partner,
Mm-hmm.
got sick and couldn't work at it any longer, and she went some for people. Well, Ms. Watson kept the place as long as she was able, and she was in a wreck, was all crippled up years and years before then. And she had to quit keeping boarders, but he stayed on there. He just, and somebody in Marietta went down. He just staying there at the boarding house, and some of the neighbors or some meddler or something another went out there. He called them meddlers.
Mm-hmm.
Told him he'd have to get out from that.
Mhm.
Law was going to get in behind him living there with that woman. He said, "The hell with the goddamn law. Said, she's running the boarding house, and I'm a staying here. I have to have some place to stay." Well, the law never did put him out.
Mm-hmm.
They stayed right on there till he bought this, or she bought that farm up there where they lived,
Mm-hmm.
and where they died, and his brothers.
Mm-hmm.
There was two of his brothers.
One was in Chattanooga, right?
There was two in Chattanooga.
Two in Chattanooga.
One was on a railroad that drove a train by that farm
Yeah.
at night. He used to wave on to
Oh,
them.
that was Charlton, wasn't it?
Maybe.
Charlton. Evan was in Randolph. Randolph was in Chattanooga. And he had three brothers, I think. But anyway, these two of his brothers just talked to Ms. Watson and asked her to go out there and keep house for him at a salary, monthly salary. They paid her.
Mm-hmm.
She told me one time they paid her $80 a month. And I'm thinking all the time I wouldn't have stayed for $180, put up with him. But
What was her background, apparently? Did she show signs of having been raised in
she was
a refined
she was a
environment?
very nice person.
Yet she lived in total, like in a garbage dump.
Well,
She was well educated.
Mm-hmm.
And a good seamstress, wasn't she?
Yes, she was one time the manager of she told me what it was, but she was a dress and hat designer.
In Baltimore somewhere.
Yeah.
Up further north somewhere.
She owned property in Baltimore. She told me once how much income she got from her property in Baltimore.
But then she'd had this accident. She was sort of on the downgrade and was middle-aged.
She couldn't walk anywhere. See, her foot was broken in the wreck, and they didn't set her foot, put in a brace or anything. When they stuck it back together, they thought she wouldn't live. And her foot, this bone up here on the top of her foot, was come down here.
Mm-hmm.
She had to have a special made shoe with her.
Yeah.
There's a big
Right.
knot.
She was
in her.
handicapped in a
Yeah,
wheelchair.
and she couldn't walk or get around much anywhere.
What was Bob Howell like in appearance? What size man was he? How would you describe him?
Well, he was I guess he's about 5 foot, 6 or 7 inches, something like that. He wasn't a very tall man, and he wasn't.
Charlie's height a little bit smaller.
Huh?
He had
About Charlie's height and a little bit.
not much weight.
No.
He was
Well, he
a
wasn't
medium,
heavy. Just
small
medium,
frame.
Yeah.
And what was he? Did he have a temper, or did he have any disposition that you could describe in any way that you observed?
What do you think you got that man for?
Had a temper like a mule chicken. Yeah, he had a temper.
Did he ever sound off around
He
you?
would do anything in the world. He'd go to the extreme to help you, as long as he liked you. But if you one time made him mad, he just soon refused to do anything else.
Mm-hmm. What kind of hang-ups did he have? In other words, what kind of things would get him? He didn't like what? Colored people, Jews. What kind of things really?
No, he didn't. I
didn't he
never heard him
discuss things like
he was
that?
always friendly with the colored people around there. He'd carry on with them and had a lot of fun with them. And he sort of had it out. Or Matt Tanner got scared of him once. He rented the farm from him once.
Who was running? Matt Tanner was?
Matt Tanner,
Mhm.
just a Negro man that lived there. I don't know what he made Matt. Got after Matt or something about him, or something. He abused his mules, or he thought he had abused him, or something or another. Kind of just about halfway threatened Matt.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt never said a word. He just went ahead and he plowed that day out on him home, and that night he loaded up his stuff and got up. And the next morning he was gone.
That
And he
wasn't
never did hang around there anymore, did he, Matt?
No.
and Matt Tanner was a pretty
Yeah.
sensible man, wasn't he? I mean,
Yeah.
there was something in his.
But now he was good to Matt until
Mhm.
he.
We get looked once in a while.
Who would get drunk?
Matt.
Matt.
He
He'd
knew
have
how
a
to
pint of
go.
whiskey in his pocket, and if he saw the deputy sheriff coming, they were down on him anyway.
Mm-hmm.
He'd drink it all because he said, I knowed I was going to get arrested anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But he never went around.
He left Bob
Bob
Howell.
Howell, he left him.
Well, there must have been knowledge in the community that
Yeah.
could be dangerous.
Yeah. Well, you're sure right. It could have been dangerous, and would have been if Matt had crossed him a little more. He got stirred up anyhow. But he thought a lot of Matt when he moved out there. He'd just do anything for him. He paid Matt's way to Chattanooga. He got a team of mules. His brother brought him a team of mules up there, and that was really what started their fuss. Matt did something to one of the mules, or he thought it. I believe he made a welt down his back.
Was Matt
with
working
flour.
on sheriffs for him? Was that the
Yeah.
idea? Mm-hmm.
Working on the sheriff, rented the place.
There's one thing now that don't quite jive unless there was a deed transfer somewhere. And Miss Watson bought that place to start with. How did Radenoff, Mr. Bob Howell's people get a hold of it after he died?
Well, they bought it over. I think they bought it from.
Bought it from her?
Or
Yeah,
she could have had a
or-
trust agreement with them that she was holding it for them.
Well, they
Something
had
like
a
that.
deed
Yes.
transfer somewhere.
Well,
What
she owned the Outwigger place before she died. I don't know.
his biggest claim to fame, so to speak, was his actions in connection with the Leo Frank murder. Now, when
Yeah.
they pulled him out of jail. Now, when he arrived there, that he would talk about that part without discussing his earlier
Yeah.
role himself, right? He was always proud of his role in the Leo Frank situation.
Oh yeah.
He
Now-
used to talk about it, remember?
Well,
He
he
used to-
never did. He never did discuss his action when he went to the scene of the lynching.
Mhm.
Except that time.
Yeah,
It
he
should've been a year
seemed
before.
like the family or somebody had told him that's a crime you're describing that you did, so don't talk about it or something. Or would he talk with you about it?
During my Army years, I went by there several times, and when I was on that produce route, he told me a lot more than you got on your recording.
Mhm. What kinds of things that you?
Me, the whole guts of it. If I
Well, tell me anything you remember that.
if I didn't bring him any beer, me and him would go up to Kennesaw
Mhm.
and get it. he'd
And while you
he'd
drink
dance.
together, do you remember any of these things? Just anything that strikes your mind that he told you?
Yeah. I don't let. This could be varying one way or the other. He said when the man stepped down on the off the train, is when he got him, not through a window.
Mr. Skelton was watching. He was the gardener.
I'm telling you what.
Yeah, but
he
you
said.
tell
Well,
what
I
he
know
said.
it.
Okay.
Well,
What about the Leo Frank thing?
As he
Did
come
discuss it?
down the steps, he
Mhm.
got him.
Yeah.
Leo Frank, he told me all about how he had to get him out of jail, have to break him out of jail,
The mob. He was part of the mob that
He
broke
was
into
part
jail
of it.
together. Yeah.
and that he cut him down and stomped him in the face.
Mhm.
He said I wasn't proud of that part of it. He told me that.
Yeah. Well, I think that he said on tape he never had earlier really spelled out. What, Mama, did you know about what was, when he would discuss the Leo Frank case? You had been a young woman at the time it was in the papers and all, and you'd lived not too far from where it had all taken place, Atlanta and Marietta. What's your recollection of the events of that period? I think you told
Before
me.
she knew him.
Before you knew him, yeah.
Yeah.
What's your recollection of the case? Because I
the
think.
case. Well,
Yeah,
I
but you
just
told
don't-
me you even knew about
Well,
songs that were sung.
I don't remember. I remember the song, but I don't remember too much about it. Back at that time, there wasn't too many newspapers,
No radio or TV,
and no
for sure. yeah.
radio, no nothing, and no telephones.
Couldn't
Right,
afford
to
to
come.
subscribe
And
to
that
the
was back in. I lived many miles
In 1915, you were still
in
in
Gilmer
the hills,
County.
yeah. So that in Gilmer County, you wouldn't be taking a newspaper, and you had no
No,
telephones.
and,
You had no real means to hear about something like this.
Well,
Was the
no,
main-
no.
Did you hear the song? Is that what would reach
Yeah, I
you?
heard the song.
Up in Gilmer County.
But I never.
The song was sung up there, or did you hear it when
Yeah,
it came out of the hills?
It was sung up there.
We had it on a record at Kennesaw when I was even old enough to remember.
And when Bob Howell would talk about this, don't you remember? Mama used to tell us what a darling little girl Mary Fagan
Oh,
was,
yeah.
like he had known her personally all of his life.
You remember that?
All of
as a
his
little girl.
life he would tell us about how much he.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
What a
that's
horrible thing
that's the
it
way
had.
he talked about anybody that
Didn't he always sort of overdo his comments about women? I mean, they were always darling or
yeah.
sort of ladylike, very
Yeah.
aristocratic approach or something to women, when he referred to them. Well, let me indicate that I'm M.H. Ross and that Mrs. Lillie West of Young Harris, what's this section?
Lower Young County.
Lower Young Cane section of Union County has been talking for the most part, and the other people present is her son Harold West, the publisher of the North Georgia News, and Mrs. Ann West Ross, her daughter. What was there about Bob Howell's speech patterns that you remember when he would be discussing something like this?
Sort of excitable, breathless.
And did he outlive Miss Watson? Because on the tape, they both. She's in the room, I remember.
Yeah. Roughly by 1 to 2 years.
That he outlived Miss Watson,
Yeah.
and they both were alive roughly until the late.
59 or 60.
Right in there.
Somewhere in that area.
Okay, and then he outlived her. You said about 1 to 2 years.
Yeah.
And he was hospitalized himself earlier, wasn't he, in the 50s over something?
I believe so.
Once.
It was operation for rupture.
Okay. Talk about the church services when you were a girl up in Gilmer County.
Well, the Howards have plenty of preachers. There's usually, sometimes as many as a dozen preachers. The pulpit would be full, and then sitting on the side seats, an amen corner. And,
What were the pews like? Were they had they been built by the people?
they didn't have pews. They just had plain old homemade benches all over the church.
All right. And the pulpit, what was it
They'd
like?
run out of the church. Nobody would have went to church if they said, well, they got some pews in the church now. They wouldn't have went.
They were just plain old benches.
Yeah, just benches. And they sure could get hard when about 3 preachers got up and preached. Hours at a time.
What time would church service begin at Ebenezer?
Well, they had this stated time, 10 o'clock. Morning services, that's the only time. Well, then they organized Sunday school there, and they'd have Sunday school at 9.
But that came later on.
Then preaching services followed that, and it'd be later when they got Sunday school. Well, they'd sing. Sometimes they'd sing half a day after preaching was over. After the preacher got through praying. But there was a lot of preachers.
Who were those preachers? Men you knew well in the
Well,
neighborhood?
some of them I did, some of them I didn't. Some I never saw, and just I wouldn't see them when they'd come and bid for church, and then I wouldn't know them about someone told me. There was this preacher Jim McCann from LJ, Roll Kimmons, Jim Kimmons, and Jim Kimmons was I don't know, he wasn't a preacher.
What was he?
He was a preacher, but
Yeah.
he didn't deserve the name as preachers used to then. That used to be when preachers were pretty straight, honest people.
Respected.
Yeah, and and they weren't so hypocritical. There's a lot of preachers now. Some of them you'll get that they'll just dog you down about any little something that you do, like fishing on Sunday or something like that, and they lose things 10 times worse.
Yeah.
And hide behind the pulpit, or in the pulpit. But this Jim Kimmons and Roland, they were brothers. Well, he got mad, Jim got mad at a young boy about something, I don't know. I never did find out. I was small then. But I heard a lot of talk about it, but I never did get the detail of it. He was mad at him for something, about something, I don't know what it was. Well, he went to church one Sunday. He loaded his gun, put it in his pocket, and got up in the pulpit and preached. They said he preached as good a sermon as they'd ever heard. People had heard him. And when he got out, he had threatened this boy. Well, the boy was at church. I don't guess probably he didn't know Kimmons was going to be there. But anyway, he went out of the house when he got through preaching. And Kimmons got out. He went around this boy went this way. And Kimmons went around this way. And when the boy saw him coming, he started to run, and he pulled that gun and shot him.
Right at church.
Right at the church.
How old were you then?
Oh, I don't know. I was about, I guess 9 or 10 years old. But I remember that. I wasn't at church.
Did you ever
that day.
hear people like Uncle Jimmy West preach at Ebenezer?
Well, not too much. I was very small when he died.
How about some of the other West brothers that you
I
described?
used to hear Sam and Jonathan preach.
What were Sam and that you told me once? I think were they
Well-
loud? Or used some word to describe they were almost alike in their style, or something.
What's what?
They were loud, you said.
Oh
or-
yeah, they'd get started and they'd just run away with the stuff, and just talk until it's so fast as it.
What are we out yonder? What
Yeah,
type
and
of
one
talk
time,
would it be?
Sam was. Well, that was after preaching services. They got to talking, and there's a lot of people up for prayer in the altar, you know. And they got stirred up. No man sound he was talking. He was going all over the church, just yelling, you know.
Walking up and back.
Yeah, telling people, telling the young folks back there, some that wouldn't come up and take no part in the meeting. And old man
What would he say
Jonathan
to the
used
young
to,
people?
Well, I don't know, just ordinary thing, I reckon. I never could understand them now, just to be fair about it.
Why, they get in
They talk
unknown
so fast,
tongues so
no,
fast?
they just talk so fast and so loud, and maybe 2 or 3 of them tongue. You know, man Jonathan was going around, he was going one way, just as brothers, you know.
Yeah.
And sound this way, and
Both
they come
preaching
on
at
back.
once on you?
Yeah, they just after services, you know.
Yeah.
And they when they got pretty close together, one of them said, I don't know which one, I wish you'd wait till I get through, and I never heard the like in your life. But it just tickled me. I just stand there laughing at it. And, you know, wait till I get through.
But that brought
then,
some
about
of
the
it.
time they get the big way, they did one over here and one up over here and start slapping their hands and hollering.
Was
like
this common? I mean, sometimes there'd be several speaking at once during the preaching.
Oh Lord, yes, I've seen 20.
Preaching at once.
all over. And
Stand up right where they were and start preaching.
some on tops of benches, stepping from back to back.
What would they say? The Spirit had moved them, that kind of thing, like a holy
I
roll?
don't know what it was. I never asked them. I just stood and watched them. And
What kind of things would they say? Do you remember anything?
No, I don't remember.
About save yourself, that type of?
No, I don't remember hearing anything, and usually just hollered.
You mean some of it might have been an unknown tongue kind of talk? You couldn't
No,
understand?
they didn't have that. Nobody knew anything about it. It wasn't meant to be an unknown tongue. They just get so many of them all together, you couldn't understand what any of them was saying.
Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
All right. Now, what about the songs? What were the commonest songs that were sung when the people gathered?
Amazing Grace and well, how firm a foundation and Amazing Grace.
Any songs that you haven't heard since much that were in your childhood?
I never hear them until I go back to Ebenezer.
And the style of it, would you tell me what, it was shape note singing, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Now tell me what that was like, the sound of it compared to what they call gospel music today.
What they call gospel music here.
Yeah. What was different about it? What was it like? The way they sung.
Well, let me see if I can think of one now that I used to sing.
Or give me the tune of one and compare it with something they do the wedding.
Oh, mi re mi sol la do sol la sol mi re sol la sol la ti la sol do mi do re do. Then that tenor would come on and start.
Each
Do, do, sol, sol, do, mi, do, re, do, sol. And that was the tenor part, and then the bass was do, do, sol. I got too
it
long.
was harmony singing, each part in their own.
We can sing a song of Moses and Nehemiah. Wake every heart and every tongue to praise His name. I can't get it. Now, well, that is that kind of song and then they get up. Preacher'd get up. He'd read a hymn from the book. He'd read, just sing from a hymn book, no notes, no anything, and
He would read a hymn from the
he'd
book.
read a hymn, and he'd read like. I hate to read up now. This is suited to common meter. That's what he'd always say.
What was that he said?
I read this song. Sing as a line, suited to common meter. Sing as a line. That means it's.
What did that mean to the congregation?
Well, it meant that they'd sing. He'd read. I don't know what the meter was.
Yeah.
It was just the speed or something. I don't know what it was, but anyway, they sing as a line. It's. I had one in mind that I used to. Yes. They'd start. Why should we start and fear to die? What timorous worms we mortals are. And the whole thing would start. Why should we start and fear to die? What timorous worm we mortals are. Death is the gate to endless joy, but still we dread to enter there. Death is the gate to endless joy, and still we dread to pick an album saying that he preacher to read it, just 2 lines at a time like that, Everybody sang.
Now they didn't even need a leader. They would know how to get that
They
going.
didn't have no leader. Everybody led their own song. The
Yeah.
preacher would read the song, and the congregation would sing it.
There was never a paid preacher, was there? These were always just parts of the members of the
Like
congregation.
I was, let me see. I was born in 1888, and I guess I was 30 years old before I ever heard tell of a preacher asking for money.
All right, that means you had left that country when you heard of her.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me about the difference in the churches. Now, for instance, up there was money. A person could be awful poor, hardly have any decent clothes, and yet they'd be welcomed in the church equally. And all
Yes,
that.
sir. Yes, sir.
But what was the difference when you came out of that country that you found? If
Oh
you went
well,
to your church?
there was a lot of difference. People that couldn't dress decently knew better than to go to church if they didn't want to be ridiculed and embarrassed. They just didn't go to church. And that's the one thing that's ruining that has ruined the world. People they don't mix together. They don't associate. And they don't have. They're not the same friendliness between people.
So
Now,
that
up
from the-
there, everybody was the same. You'd go to church, and it made no difference how.
How would you dress for church in Gilmer County? Was it a special occasion? You know how people put on Easter,
No.
Sunday finery. This is the day
No.
after Easter we're talking, so it's on
put
your
on
mind.
clean clothes. Granddaddy West, James West,
Yeah.
the preacher,
Mhm.
he would plow on Saturdays. They
Yeah.
used to have services on Saturdays and Sundays.
Mhm.
Who would have conference too. They'd
At
go to church,
Ebenezer, huh?
take care of the church business.
All right.
That was on the 3rd Sunday. And
Every third Sunday was church business.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and the 1st was at Clear Creek, and the 4th was at Burnt Mountain.
Oh, you rotated, I see.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
And then the 2nd was at Mount Zion, and sometimes some churches where they're farther apart, they have to have services on the same day. But and that gives a person a choice. If you wanted to go here, you might. If you wanted to go the other place, but
Mhm.
but they'd when they'd go to church, it was just
He would plow, you were saying, on
he'd
Saturday.
plow
Then
till
what? Tell me about
time
it.
to go to church. Or he'd come in home, and if he had time, he'd shave, but he was never too dirty. But he'd wash his face and get the
Well,
not
he'd be
too
wearing
bad.
working clothes and
Yeah.
leave the church.
And his plow shoes.
Mhm.
Maybe he'd take the broom and sweep the dirt off from around us all, go on and preach. Go on to the
I
church
see.
and preach. And nobody thought anything about it. He was just a good old man. He was nice. He didn't go in for no style, it was true. And he preached there at Ebenezer for years and years. I've heard him preach, but I don't remember too much about it.
And this was basically true right up through World War I before you left there. The people in work clothes were welcome and simple clothes.
Yeah.
It wasn't like today with deodorants and perfumes and all. They were
No.
ordinary country people.
That's it. And people lived then. They lived as long as they do now, and they had less sickness, and they didn't. I don't know. People just everybody lived at home. They eat common, plain, helpful food, and it wasn't messed up. I declare that the way they eat now, all these sauces, hot sauce and cold sauces and Parmesan sauce and all this stuff that they put on meat.
How about desserts? Was there much sweets in those days?
Well, they had these, they didn't have much, my mother used to make jams and jellies. Not too much of it because money was scarce and sugar was high. Well, sugar wasn't so high, but it's just money was scarcer than. But it used to be, you could get, at one time I can remember, you could get 20 pounds of sugar for $1. And now 5 pounds would cost you 69 cents. But at that time, you get 20 pounds of sugar for $1. A man would have to work 2 days to buy 20 pounds of sugar. And now you can work an hour and get 20 pounds of sugar.
Can you remember, as you were a girl coming up, that a man who worked for another, chopping wood or doing something, what would he get? About 50 cents a day? Is that what you're saying?
40 and 50 cents a day. And the man used to think that he was doing a strong, healthy man. And he didn't work he didn't have no 8-hour days either. He'd work up from sun up till sundown.
What kind of work was there like
that
that
was
you
day
remember? Who would
farmer.
you would go to
Farm
another
work.
man's farm and if he was hiring you, and you'd get there at sun up and work
Go
till
there at sundown, work till sundown, and you got a day's
He would
work.
feed you a
Give you
midday
dinner.
meal.
Give you dinner. And
That paid 40 or 50 cents for that.
40 and 50 cents.
Your dad would occasionally have to hire people like this when he was getting his crops in or other
Yeah,
time.
he had hired a few hands.
And in
hired,
turn-
and a lot of times he has hired men to work for him, but he really didn't need them because they needed the work and they wanted to work for what they got. And they'd work a day for a bushel of corn.
Did Kim Mulkey have to occasionally work out himself when he
No,
was needed?
no.
He didn't.
He never hired out to be, he never did hired out to work for anybody unless it was something that somebody else couldn't do, like he got to work for man. I remember he worked for John Walker. He got a first-class carpenter to come in there and he was remodeling his house. He wanted to had to cut new rafters. And this old man, he went to way down, got LJ somewhere and got this old man. He was #1 carpenter. And he was paying him $1 a day. Now that was
high. That was a skill man.
at that time. Yeah. And Dad was a helping at 50 cents.
Yeah.
Well, they went to cut the rafters and got him down. He said, Dad saw what he was doing, and he said, Mr. I can't think of his name, but anyhow, he said, I believe you got that lady wrong, haven't you? How long have you been a carpenter? He said. Dad said, I don't claim to be a carpenter. And he just walked off. And he cut them rafters, and when he got ready to put them up, he had them every one cut wrong. Every one of them.
Kim had noticed that he was about
Yeah.
to do it wrong.
He knew he was good at wrong, but he thought he'd be smart. He smarted off, and well, he went home. He discovered he'd cut him wrong. He told the man he'd be back on Monday. Went home on Saturday. That man hadn't showed up yet.
He didn't try to collect his wages either, did he?
And he went after him. Well, he paid him by the
Oh, he
day.
paid
When he
him by
went
the day,
home,
yeah.
he paid him. Yeah, that's the way they used to pay him.
Yeah.
Pay him the day. People had to maybe work a day and get the money and go by the store and get.
Could they trim those rafters and use them?
Well, the man went to see the old carpenter, and he was in bed sick, wasn't he? He's playing possum. That old man in Durden.
Dirt, no.
And when he, then the man come up to my daddy. I want him to help put the rafters up. I don't think he had discovered what the man had done. Dad went on and he looked at the rafters. He said, "Now, John," he said, "I told your carpenter that he was fixing to cut them rafters wrong when he started." He said, "He asked me how long I'd been a carpenter." He said, "Now you'll never use them rafters." He said, "They're every one cut wrong. A whole set of rafters for the roof of the house." Oh, it made him mad. No wonder he's sick. I'd have been sick too. And he didn't have no more rafters. And he didn't have the money to buy any more lumber, more timber for rafters. And he wondered what he could do.
Now,
And he said to Dad, he said, "Mr. Mulkey, is there any way that them can be fixed?" Dad said, "Yes, if you want me to fix them." He said, I can piece them, put a piece on there. And I can cut a piece to fit on that, on the end where he's got it cut wrong. Well, that's what he had to do for every one of those rafters. He had to, well, he said he's afraid to make them weak. And Dad said, "No, when I get through with it, that won't be just as strong as if they hadn't been cut.
you had to cut them off and then put a piece to them.
Yeah, he cut the rafters off and cut a piece to fit, to finish it up, and he put them together and he put a brace on each side to hold them, and they were strong, as strong where he put them together as they was anywhere else. Well, Dad still did that work for him. And
At 50 cents.
50 cents a
He was
day.
getting a cheap carpet.
Yeah, he was paying that.
Now,
carpet.
back on the church, is it fair to say that there almost was no other organization in Gilmer County? Almost people didn't have, your father didn't go to political meetings. There was,
Oh, no, they didn't
there was
have
no fraternal orders or
They didn't
anything.
have them, and they didn't have no.
So the
there's no
church was
movers.
it. The
There's no
people came
movers,
together at church, right?
Yeah.
That was everything. Now, does that mean that the business meetings every, I think you said third Sunday, on Sunday, was that right? They have business meetings once a month of the church to
on
conduct
Saturday.
business? Huh?
Saturdays.
Saturdays.
Saturday and Sundays.
Saturday and Sundays. Now, that was like the conference of several churches.
Well,
Now that
one
would-
church, every church. Well, sometimes they'd have visitors come in.
So you would the family would get in the wagon and you'd go to different churches for those things?
Yeah. No, and I don't. Once in a while, if they had sometimes they'd have somebody some of the members would have them try them in the church. So if they do something, misdeed, something they
Well,
shouldn't
tell me
do.
what a trial might be about. What would they be charged?
Well,
Do you
it
remember
all
anything?
depends.
Yeah.
A church member, a girl could have a baby. They had to investigate that. They had a baby out of wedlock.
Yeah.
Now, one of the members get drunk.
All right.
And then maybe two of them
Would
have
you
a
all
fight.
be there? Would you be there during
Why,
that?
no, I never.
It's just
been
grown
there.
people.
I just heard Dad talk about it.
Okay. Who would be coming together? All the adult men and women?
The deacons.
The deacons.
And the members of the church.
Who were the deacons? Was your dad ever a deacon?
Well, yeah, my dad was a deacon from the time I can remember until he got too old in the church.
So if there was a baby born out of wedlock, they'd be looking into that. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Well, now I'll tell you, there was one other thing. You got that thing on?
Yeah.
Well, this is a funny little one, but it happened. It's in the church work.
Yeah. Go ahead.
There was a girl had a baby.
Mhm.
Well, they had conference. Now this was the Ebenezer Church.
Yeah.
My uncle was a member of Ebenezer Church, and Dad belongs to a Creek Church. Well, they in conference,
Which uncle was that? Is it?
Uncle Ben,
Mhm.
they investigated this case, talked about it, and they appointed a committee to go and talk to him.
Mhm.
Well, Uncle Ben and Jim Kincaid
Mhm.
and John Greenaway were the three men they appointed. Now, I never could understand why they didn't appoint women to go and talk to this girl.
That's very good.
But anyway, these three men went. Well, Uncle Ben, she was related to Uncle Ben somehow or another. Well, he'd been with her a lot. Wasn't so embarrassing to him to talk to her. Well, they put on him to talk first. He just went in and talked to her, and she said she was sorry. She knew she'd done wrong, and she talked nice about it. Well, Mr. Greenway, he said something. Come to man Jimmy Kincaid. Well, there's all talking. There's all present, and there's doing the talking. Now, Brother Kincaid, is something, you got something you want to say?
That's the girl talking.
No, it was the man.
Yeah, the
The
man.
men are talking to Kincaid. They're talking, wanting to ask him if he had something he wanted to say in the case, about the
Yeah.
case to the girl. And he said, well, seemed like you folks have said all that's necessary to be said. He said, I just think if there's more of it done than less said about it, we'd have a better time.
He didn't exactly say the right thing.
Huh?
If there was more done about it,
He said part of it. Yeah, he said that now. Uncle Ben Malty and John Greenaway told it. And they said they never had been any worse embarrassed
yeah.
and any better tickled.
What they would be doing is sort of attempting to do a moral job, in effect, right?
Yeah.
A girl on her transgressions.
Yeah.
Now, it was almost like a charge of bastardy at times. They want to know who the man was.
That was it. No, they didn't
They
ask
weren't
any
into that.
questions.
They didn't ask
and
questions.
they just left that up to her.
The woman was the sinner, but they weren't after finding out much more.
No, they didn't ask her who the father of the child was, because I
They're
guess
afraid
they
to
thought
find
maybe she
out
didn't know.
Oh, I see. I thought they were afraid of finding out it was a committee member or something.
Well, they could have been that, but
All right, now what about drinking? A man might get terribly publicly drunk and they'd look into that type of thing.
yeah,
What other kinds of things? Anything else you
you're
remember?
about fighting,
Fighting.
yeah.
Would it be usually what, fist fighting, knife fighting,
Yeah.
gun fighting? What would be going on?
Fist fighting, there wasn't too much done by back in Dawson. They used to have drunken brawls over there, but that wasn't the church had nothing to do with that. Just the bootleggers get out over there and have
Dawson was a little worse for bootlegging.
yeah, it's worse for bootlegging and it's worse for fighters too. They get to drinking, they didn't have no sense.
What sections of Dawson was that you?
Well, I don't know. It's just Dawson County now. That's all I know about it. I just hear them go, well, that happened over in Dawson County. And Dawson County did so and so. What are you doing?
What about the preacher that got drunk and said,
What was the story about the preacher? Was that up in Gilmer County? That's
Oh, yeah.
Right, tell me who that was.
Ebenezer, no, it was Tignetly, sir.
at Tickenetly.
And
And how did that go? That story.
well, they said he got drunk. Some boys told him. that he
Remember his name?
got Jasper McClure.
Mm-hmm.
Jasper McClure. He's, I guess he did get drunk,
Mm-hmm.
but the boys told him, said he vomited all over himself.
That was the story. Huh?
And he was that drunk, he just vomited all over himself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he stood as long as good, didn't go back to church, and they didn't call him in. They just, these boys, the Stebbins boys,
Mm-hmm.
told it,
In the community.
and just for fun.
Mhm.
They didn't have anything to do with it, they weren't church members.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sometime after that, I guess his conscience got to bother him. He come to the church one Sunday.
He was a member.
Yeah.
Okay.
He had been the pastor at that church.
Mhm.
They elect one for each year.
To be pastor.
Yeah, and he got up, walking in and walked up in the pulpit, and he said, brothers and sisters, no, only God knows the humbleness of my heart. And I left my home this morning and started out here to a little sanctuary. And but I've had some. I can't remember. It's been hard on me having to undergo the story that's been in circulation about. They said somebody, some worldly person has told falsehoods on me. They said that I got drunk. They said I got drunk. I was beastly drunk. And they said I vomited all over myself. A baser falsehood has never been uttered by the tongue of man. Brothers and sisters, I was not drunk. I did not vomit on myself. I throwed it away out yonder. And then Preacher Walker, he was another preacher. He went to,
This wasn't the same Walker that never took a drink.
no, that's his brother. The preacher got sick. There's running a revival at Clear Creek Church.
Mm-hmm.
And the preacher got sick, or just for meanness, sent Will Walker to take his place. He was a character, the preacher was, that sent Will Walker. Well, he come and it was late. The preaching services was 10 and 2. Had 2 services a day. He was late, got there about 11 o'clock. He got him, well, brother and sister, that's fell in my lot. I have to take care of the services today. And I'm late. I'm sorry, I'm late, but I can't help. We'll sing a song and have prayer, and then I'll go in, then I'll explain. I'll give my excuse for being late. Well, the song was, why should we mourn departed friend, and shake at death's alarm? And they sung the song, somebody led a prayer. Now, brothers and sisters, you may think strange of the song I selected this morning, but I've got a good reason for it. I've had bad luck. My steer died this morning. My steer died last night. And I had to make arrangements to get rid of the carcass, get somebody to drag him off on. Brothers and sisters, I didn't skin that steer. God gave him to me with the hand on, and I took him back just like God. And then he had another prayer and dismissed. Oh, there's some funny things happening. One time, the same preacher went to he was going to preach at the place, and when he got up in the pulpit, he said, "Brothers and sisters, I'm going to blow a big one. Yes, I'm going to blow a big one." He went through with all the first part of the services. Had prayer. He was going to blow a big one. And picked up his Bible. He couldn't read too well. Picked up his Bible. And he said, "Blow ye the trumpet blow." And that was his song.
Tell me, where do you think you got your sense of humor, your sort of irreverent ability to see things the way they honestly are? Did you
Well,
Your father was a deacon now. Was he pretty independent of mind? Did he see through his fellow man pretty well, or was
yes. Yeah.
did he,
Yeah.
you know, accept everything as the gospel truth that these fellows were putting out?
No, he knew people. He knew people. He needed a pretty fair judge of people.
You think part of it you got from him, or did
Yeah.
well, part of it,
sure.
of course, was you?
Yeah, I got a lot of it from him. Now I know he.
But he didn't take.
His advice to his children was, do right and you'll do well. Do right. Now, always do
No,
right.
he wasn't so much raising you to be a Baptist or to be a
No,
particular,
no.
you
It
know,
was
a
his
church
counseling
member.
and
that
his,
kind of thing.
no, the church member, he never
He knew there was a lot
worried
of.
about that. And one time, I'd tempt him sometimes. I could get further with him than some of the other children. Because I was kind of his favorite ragging because I always followed him. I was healed him. I was wherever he went. And I'd go to the shop with him, and he'd fix me up a little place to stand and pump the bellows for him.
When you were just wee little. Huh?
Yeah, I was old enough to reach.
How old were you before you could handle the bellows?
Oh, before I could handle it good, I was 10. Then I could stand on the ground and come. But when I was a little bit thing, when it was too cold, he'd fix me a seat up in front of his furnace, and I'd sit there. But now what was I fixing?
You were staying with him a lot, so you absorbed a lot.
Yeah.
Was that?
Yeah. Well, sometimes he'd say, I'd say something about what I had done or what I was had a mind to do, what I was figuring on doing. He'd say, well, do you think that would be right? I don't think that would be right. And I wouldn't say anything. And he'd say, now listen, if you'll do right, you'll always do well. And I'd say, well now, Daddy, I might do something wrong and not know it was wrong until I'd already done it. He said, yeah, that could happen. But he said, when you are tempted to do something you're not sure of, he said, you take time to figure out and study study the act and see where it could lead to.
What about your mother? You also have a more of a laughing sense of humor, and I take it that I'm not meaning that he lacked it. I think he had a very underlying moral tone from everything you've said, you know, seriousness, and he was a father figure, you know, of her family.
Yeah.
So you got part of that, but where did you have uncles or aunts, your mother? Where do you think you got your ability to just about laugh at everything?
That was from mother's side of the family. Her people were very jovial. And they laughed at something that was, to others would have been real serious, but they done just as well and got
I mean, you say even as a child, you just were sitting there laughing almost at these priests. I mean, in your mind you were. You knew they were. It was just a big game in a way. You didn't take them seriously.
Yeah.
But there were kids sitting right next to you who thought that was the heaven and the earth. Those men talking.
Oh yeah, some of them did, and some of them talked.
Did you rush forward to be saved during those things?
I didn't race forward, but I'd see them do it. At Burnt Mountain, I was talking last night, they'd spit all around and some spit in the floor.
This was people chewing tobacco.
That was a backward place up on Burnt Mountain.
More backward than Ebenezer?
Oh gosh, Ebenezer was a paradise to that. They just do anything, but they fight like dogs and cats.
Right in the church?
Then, no, not in the church,
but in that neighborhood.
till meeting time. Then they go to meeting, they shout. They get out the girls.
Right at Burnt Mountain, let me see, they'd be chewing tobacco, dipping snuff. And what would they do at Burnt Mountain? They'd spit right at the pulpit?
Spit against the pulpit.
How far away would they be?
Run down in puddles. Some would spit in the floor.
How far away would they be when they'd be spitting?
Well, it's a spitting distance.
What, would they spit over another man's head? They'd never do that.
They wouldn't
They'd
do
be facing towards
and
the
that,
pulpit.
if they was behind somebody, they'd spit down between the seat and the floor.
And they'd be just puddles of tobacco.
And I have seen girls up that way. They used to have, have services, preacher would get up and preach, sing a song, and then they'd call for, they had a mourner's bench now. They'd call, extend an invitation to the sinners to come, and I've seen girls go up there with the prettiest white blouses on, up there, and they just flop over on the floor and waller. I've seen them
in
waller.
tobacco juice? And in the dirty
Tobacco
floor?
juice is right, it'd be all over them. You can tell
In their
it when
white
they got up.
dresses.
Yeah. And
Now this was sort of being saved, huh?
oh yeah. Well, they'd get up, get shout, and they'd shout.
Now,
Then
what
get
else
out.
about the people at Burnt Mountain that told you that you say they'd be fighting, actually fist fighting, be going on the night before or even that next
Oh,
morning?
but any time that they got mad enough, or any time that one girl up there would get a letter of another girl's boyfriend, post office, and break it and read it, they'd have a fight.
Mhm.
They'd do that.
Now, how would they get somebody else's mail in those days? They'd pretend they were carrying it to
They
them?
had a post office, and they just go in.
General delivery for everybody.
It's in the mail for such and such one, and they, well, yeah, when they lived in a close section, and the one would be
Pick
going
up
to
the other
post
one's
office,
mail.
and everybody say, bring my mail, and they'd have a load of mail.
Then those girls would what, tear each other's hair out or something?
Oh, yes, they'd fight. One of my cousins taught school up there one time. And
Which cousin was that?
Jack West.
Mm-hmm.
And they got into a fight. Two girls got into a fight, and they used to have these great long hat pins. Hold your hats on. The hats just set on top of your head, and you had to have a pin to go through it. They got into a fight, and he saw this fight, and then he just happened up on them. They didn't know he was anywhere around, and he said he just got up that time and got a hold of that girl in time to pull her around, since she had that hat pin. It had a hickey on the end of it. Well, something like that, I guess. This great big ornamented,
Mm-hmm.
figurative, funny looking thing. And she had a hold of that, and he said he caught her just in time to save her from slamming that right through that girl's back.
Mm-hmm.
And she was aiming it right there.
Their tempers were pretty bad up there.
Yeah.
What were some of the families at Burnt Mountain? Who do you
Well, it
remember?
was the Millers and the Cowards and the Halberts and the Burlesons and the Burls and Haygoods and Paydens and Bryants, Cantrells, Countlers, Southerns and Bateses, and that's just all that is.
Pretty good collection of,
Yeah.
of the folks that way. What about the other churches?
Yeah, they live just in little huddles. You can be going through them mountains and go little ways, and first thing you know, go around a little bend there, little log cabins and up there, and gang kids are playing around.
What about the post offices? Would they be in someone's home in those years?
No,
Or
well,
in
I
a
imagine,
general
yeah,
store? Or
yeah,
where?
they didn't have, there's no stores on there.
Where'd you get your mail at?
I got my mail over on the other side of the mountain.
At what?
We
What
got
was
our
it?
mail at Cardiff for a long time, and then they made a new post office up about a mile from where I live, Snyder.
Snyder. Where was the post office at Snyder? In a store or
No, it was in a home,
in a home? You went to this person's home?
yeah. Well, he kept the mail out, had a little place fixed up in the hallway, kept the mail. But on Burnt Mountain it's the same way. There was no stores up there, because there's people from merchants from down at Dyke and Cardiff that had stores, sold groceries and dry goods,
There
stuff
wasn't
like that.
much bought anyway. I mean,
They'd, they bought a lot. Yeah, don't worry. They bought a lot. But they either had to go to Jasper or over on the other side of the mountain. They usually went to Jasper. And but these people over on this side, Cardiff and Dyke, they'd take this load, get a wagon, mules, and they'd load up a load of produce, take cloth and stockings, socks, and soap, and everything that a person used. Well, they'd just haul it around to people's houses on Burnt Mountain.
Oh, I see. Now, you mentioned pack peddlers, but this was local merchants with
Yeah,
a wagon store.
yeah. Just, they did it, well, it helped the people out up there, and then it helped them out.
But they didn't come
They
your
buy.
way. That kind of thing didn't come your
Well,
way.
they didn't stop at my way, because I wasn't right on on the road.
Mm-hmm.
But they'd go up there. They knew where they could sell it. It was thickly settled on it now.
Why was Burnt Mountain? Was it more moonshining, more cash, or something like that?
Well, just people just raised up there. No, they didn't. They wasn't any more moonshining. Not as much moonshining down up there as there was in Dawson, any more than there was over on the other side. The people up there were, there wasn't very many of them that fooled with whiskey like they did those. But he'd take these, this man would take this load of stuff up there, you know. Well, he'd buy their chickens and eggs when he'd go up there. And
they'd buy his whole supply.
Yeah, they'd buy the groceries and dry goods and things that they needed. And
That's a big truck going by there.
but they'd, if they didn't have, when their stores wouldn't run, then they had to walk out.
Mm-hmm.
One family lived 3 miles up on the mountain. Well, it was 3 miles down to the road that went to Dyke. Well, I've seen them, the two girls, they used to come, I've seen them a lot of day and night at school, snow was deep, 2 or 3 inches deep, coming on the road, bundled up with a basket of eggs. Well, after they got to the schoolhouse, it was 3 miles from where they, 2.5 miles from the schoolhouse, from where they lived. And after they got there, they had to walk 4 miles onto the store.
Those people were isolated, weren't they?
They'd go, and then they didn't seem to mind it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
They just plodded through that snow.
How did you dress for cold weather in those years?
Well, I wore home woven, linseed, woolen dresses.
Mm-hmm.
And
What
then,
kind of coat did you ever
petticoats.
use? Sheepskins
And,
or anything?
well, I had, my mother'd make a dress. Yeah. She'd make, get outing and make my underwear, sleeves in it, long sleeves in my underwear, and something little under that, people dressed. And then I'd wear a wool dress on top. A wool dress on top of that, and then a cotton, it was they used to call them aprons, just all over, just coveralls, just a contraption made, just sleeves in it, but up here,
Sleeved
button it up
apron
behind.
and a button
Yeah.
behind. It was like a
Button-
jumper
button
with
up behind.
sleeves or something. Very
Yeah.
good.
But we didn't need anything more than a little something around the shoulders, something on her head.
If you were dressed that much and you got in near a hot fire, you were sort of warm.
Wool stockings,
Wool stockings.
Yeah.
Your mother made those?
yeah. What she didn't make, I did. I made a man a pair of stockings and socks.
How about your dad made the leather shoes? He tanned the leather and made the shoes.
Yeah, he made the shoes.
Was there any big heavy outer coats need for the men that worked in the woods? Or?
Well, Dad he had to wear he had an overcoat, heavy overcoat.